Upanishad, we're on the third chapter, the fourth verse, the fourth mantra. Yo devanam prabhavascha udbhavascha vishwadipo rudra maharshihi Hiranyagarbham janayamasa purvam sano buddhya supaya sangyunaktu. Yes, so yeah. Rudra, who is the origin and source of the divine power of the gods, who is the protector of the universe, and the great seer, projected Hiranyagarbha in the beginning. May he endow us with good understanding. Now, we have a verse which is also found in the earlier section of the Vedic literature. Rudra. Somehow, it's like, so long we were talking about the impersonal God, the experiences of the impersonal God. And as human tendencies, you kind of try to personalize things. And this seer here, Svetasvatara, he brings in a kind of a personalized, impersonal God. What we call it as Rudra.
Is that the same as Saguna Brahman?
Yes. We are talking about Saguna Brahman only. But in a way, we have also given him a kind of a personality, or rather, it a personality. Now, Rudra means in the old Vedic literature, very old Vedic literature, we had a class of gods, smaller divinities called Rudras. They were 11 in number. And later on, as philosophical portions developed, they made Rudra as a chief of those other 11. And then also, as usual, they make one god the god of all gods. So here we have a kind of a Rudra. Rudra means a kind of a howler. Rather, if you take it literally, one who howls, one who makes us cry. But then the Vedic meaning is one who brings in, or you can say, dispels our sorrow. One who dispels our sorrow, or one who dispels our ignorance, is called Rudra. Ruk sorrow dhavayati. So once and now we've got Rudra, who is the origin and source of the divine powers of the gods. This is important. And there are two words used here. The Sanskrit words are prabhavascha, udbhavascha. It's like, the reality is also the process and is also the product. Two things, yeah. There is in all, in most of the schools of philosophy, they say yes, this universe that we experience is a transformation of what? Of the reality. So the universe partakes of that divine nature of reality. Now, when you say, oh, it transformed, there are some who come who are a little philosophical, will say, oh, yeah, I see. It's transformation. It's like milk turning into curds or yogurt, and then milk loses its character when it's transformed into something else. cheese. Now that's called a parinama. That's a transformation. Then they will say, oh, so the reality is now no more. It has transformed itself. You got it?
Pardon me, Sandy.
The reality is now no more the reality as it was absolute. It has transformed itself.
Implying that there are two things.
No, the same thing, that the reality has transformed itself. So it has lost its original character.
So has it transformed itself to the point to where there are two things
In a
existing
way,
or not?
in a way, no,
No, it's
not
something
yet.
new.
It's still a transformatory process of this Saguna
Yeah.
Brahman.
Okay.
But uh, of course, there are some who say, yes, God has become this universe. So the Vedantin comes and says, no, not really. It's called a Vivarta, the school of Vivarta. That is, it has transformed, the reality has transformed itself, but only apparently. Not really.
That's appearance.
Yes.
Yeah. So the cheese was in the milk the whole time.
Mm, yeah.
It's like
But
gold becoming
the cheese that you see is not really a cheese. God has not become the cheese. He has
But it's
still the milk.
It's still made out of the milk.
Yeah. There's no
This is
cheese.
important, actually.
There's no cheese. The cheese is a kind of an appearance.
Okay.
Okay. Milk remains milk. The reality remains reality. And the cheese that you see is a kind of an appearance.
But the appearance itself is.
Yeah, attractive. It's ha
It's-
ha.
no,
Yeah.
it's not, no,
You
it's-
see all this whole
but
universe. Ha,
But the
wow.
appearance itself is also Brahman. It's also, they say, I know they say it's a reflection of Brahman, but isn't it made
No,
out
it's
of
not.
They say it neither
Yeah,
exists nor
because
it doesn't
because
exist, but there's a
because you're getting into duality.
right. Well,
They don't want to get into a trap of duality.
right. There's a very
Yeah,
interesting little
exactly,
crack here.
exactly. And you say, oh, this is Brahman, this is Brahman. No, it's not Brahman. It's not Brahman. It's an appearance.
And yet,
It is
Sri
Brahman.
Ramakrishna said,
appearance, but Brahman behind.
Yeah,
The
it's
gold
like
and jewelry.
it's like that snake. When you see the snake, okay, you go back to that. You see the snake, and it's obvious that you do not see the snake in total darkness. There is a kind of a hazy or dim or called twilight, and in that because you otherwise if you try to you step on something in the dark, you won't even know it's a snake or something else. How do you say it's a snake? There is a kind of a small reflection. That's why Maya is called Yat Kinchit. That's something which gives a kind of a reality to this appearance, Bhavarupa. It shines. It's because of that substratum called a rope. You mistook it for a snake. Got it? And there has to be some kind of knowledge. I mean, there was light. You see, oh, you recoiled in horror. You won't do that in total darkness. Oh, you might get frightened in the dark, but when we're talking about this example, there is a kind of a knowledge. It's called you can say it's a kind of knowledge, abhas. Now, and it's called non-knowledge. That's the reason. Compared to the knowledge of Brahman, this becomes non-knowledge. Jnana. Jnana and Ajnana. So, like you said, yes, all this is Brahman, yes, apparently. Brahman shines through that appearance. Otherwise, you will not be able to see that appearance. You will not be able to experience it. You will not be able to experience this world. It's because of that reality. But don't say that this is absolutely real. They say it has a relative existence. It's relative. This world is what I make out of it, or I perceive it, or I see it. And it's like,
To say for us though, this is dumb person walker, but something shines through.
yeah, yeah, yes. Even a blind person has some kind of, they say, the blind sight or something like that. He's totally blind, but then he can pick out certain objects and colors. He can point at them. It's been
And some Swami made the comment that when we see the rope, we mistake it for a snake, and so someone has made the argument that we don't mistake it for an elephant.
yeah,
So there is
right, exactly,
some resemblance.
exactly. That's what the whole idea is. You don't see it as a kind of a elephant.
Mhm.
You'll speak about it as a kind of a, oh, it looks like a snake.
So
The rope looks like a
we do glean something.
yes,
about
yes.
this,
Otherwise,
right.
otherwise it'll be impossible for people to have ideas of divinity or immortality. Where do these ideas come from? Where do the ideas of God come from? I mean, even if a person is not tutored, or a class of people or a society or a civilization which has not been contacted or anywhere, you go deep down to the Amazon forest also, you'll find those tribes isolated for centuries and maybe even thousands of years. They too have some form of worship and a deity. Yes? Who taught them? No, it's innate. Yeah. They get that kind of reflection. So, to come back to who's the origin and source of the divine powers of the gods. So, you see, when God first creates, God, I was the other day just reading Thomas Aquinas's books, so I was just leafing through them. They say, on the first day he created like this, and the second day he created like this, the creatures, and third day as well. And it's fantastic. You can see reasoning he's giving. How God could create a particular thing on a one or day two or day three or day four, and it made no sense to me
Hmm.
because Holy Mother says, "Does God create things little by little? No, God creates instantaneously." Now, when God creates, does He create the gods first, like you're saying, the gods, and then human beings, and then animals? No. If those who have been following these arguments here, in the second chapter we've spoken about, the gods, when the gods are mentioned, gods are called as shining beings. Deva means Deotanat, means shines. Now, what is actually shining? These gods, which are external, are also internal. Our sense organs are called the Deva. Oh, yes. And we had last time enumerated the various gods within us. You remember? So it's like, I'll just go through it. We have first memory, which is the god Vishnu. We have the ego, the individual, you can say self, which is Shiva. Now you see, all these gods are within you. There's a long list. The intellect is Brahma. Ah, the mind is Chandrama, the deity of the moon. Okay, and then we have feet as Vishnu. Here we have Vishnu repeated. We got Tad Vishnu Paramam Padam. These are like long striding Vishnu. We have the hands, called, whose the presiding deity is Indra. We have eyes, which is Surya. So now you see there's a huge collection of all gods and goddesses. We have the ears, the space, the deities looking after the 10 directions. Ha! And then the tongue, and with the this faculty of taste, has got Varuna, the deity Varuna. So here you have all these gods. You have smell, and that's Prithvi, the Mother Earth. She is a goddess. Yeah. So all these things we have, and the wind that blows. It's called the Vayu. That is the god Vayu. So we have gods here, and we have gods here outside, and we have gods everywhere. This is why people, when they try to understand Vedanta, especially Advaita Vedanta, first they ought to be told there's that illusion. What's an illusion? They're saying it's an illusion. It's not an illusion in a way that we know what illusions are. The illusion is actually we are human. This is the illusion. Vedanta says, no, you are actually divine. How come you've begun to think of yourself as a human being? There. So when God creates, He creates these gods, and these gods are outside, inside, and not only the human beings. Generally we think, oh, human beings are a little special, and the gods are within us. No, they are all over creation. Every living being has those aspects of God. Otherwise, Vedanta says you will not be able to experience the external world. There's a deity behind the light, and there's a deity behind my eyes, who guides my eyes. And there's a deity which is behind the sun. And so both all these three things coalesce, and then you can experience things. So what do we experience? Actually, we experience the reality, the divinity all through. But we are not aware. That's the illusion. Otherwise, people they say, "Oh, Advaita Vedanta is nice. I'm real, and everything else is an illusion." Oh no, it's a nice, fine, egotistical way of looking at reality, which is of course not true.
You said we experience the divinity all through, and then what did you say?
Yeah, we are that. We experience the divinity all through. It's bifurcated, apparently bifurcated within me, out the eyes, the fire out here, and the sun. So the other day I was talking, somebody was saying, "Oh, this is all idol worship." Idol worship. I said, nobody ever worships an idol. I cannot see the divinity yet. So what do? I take an image and I superimpose the ideas of divinity on that image. It's always we worship the divinity every time. We don't worship idol. Nobody worships. There are no idol worshippers, no idolaters. Simple as that. Yes. And since I'm still raw, I need to concentrate on one thing. Okay, concentrate on this. Because what happens is if you try to concentrate right now on the divinities within your body, you just might increase your body consciousness. To avoid that, we say, you fix. And then what do we do for that idol now? We use the space and the wind and the fire and you can say the earth and all the other elements, the five elements, we use those to worship through symbol. The whole thing is a kind of symbology.
You're going to cover that in your lecture.
Oh
this
yes,
month?
yes. Okay, so we leave it now
Oh
for
no,
the
I
time
mean,
being.
I just wanted to verify.
No, we've got some more uh, uh, things to tread through. So it's like that. So that deity who is the origin and source of the divine powers of the gods, who is the protector of this universe. There we are. Obviously, he has to protect himself. Yeah, the universe is a body, that apparent appearance, that appearance. And that idea of self-protection is always there within us. So it's always there. So even if the car is a bit about 100 feet away and it blows a horn, you get a startle. Yeah, yeah. So you get, oh, you need to protect yourself. So that the idea of protecting yourself is there. So why does God is addressed as protector? Because right now we are in the state of non-knowledge. We, apparent non-knowledge, and we question things. And then this creation that we see, is there someone looking after this? And then we say yes. Who is that? Yes, that deity who projects the universe also protects the universe. That's the idea. We're on page 126. It's like, a mother will give her life up for a child. So she puts herself first. Why? That has been created from her own body. So it's a part of that. So she will protect it through anything. And we've seen Swami Vivekananda also gives the example of a lady is walking down the streets and then a dog keeps barking and she'll fly and away from the dog. But next day, if she's with a child and a tiger approaches, where will she be? Running away? No. She's there in the mouth of the tiger to protect. So that's we have this idea of okay, then it protects. So are we really protected? Saying yes. Oh yes. We problem is we don't appreciate these things. We don't see the okay. Hundreds of examples. One humorous story kind of. Uh, Shiva, like Rudra, is sitting down in Mount Kailash. That's his abode. And suddenly he gets up from meditation and runs down. And after a moment, he returns. So Mother Parvati asks, where did you go? Saying, no, one of my devotee was attacked by some robbers. And he was crying for help. And I went. Then what happened? Oh, he took a stick up to drive them away. So he never needed me, so I came. So this is what. So who is a protector of the universe and the great seer? His vision is constant. This is the recurring theme of I. You know, in old Babylonian, Egyptian mythology, you have this. the eye of Horus, and even such mundane things like I think it's Freemasons and all these things. They have the eye, divine eye, keeps on looking, one eye. Uh, it means a kind of a you are protected, yes, but you are also scrutinized.
Mm.
Hmm. Let's see. It's a constant. It's a witness to the whole thing. So even human beings, there's a line of thought that we are human beings are really seeing beings. Thinking comes much later. We see things, we react, then comes behavior, and then comes a thought behind. Many people say first it's a thought, then it's a behavior. That's actually this reacting to what I see has actually saved us from being extinct. I would have been extinct some millions of years. Even huge things have been extinct. And what does he? So, so weak. There's a story in the Greek. All the gods are sitting down on Mount Olympus. And they are watching the creation. Zeus is just created, and everybody is fine, and only these human beings are so miserable. Uh, so the gods are deliberating. See, these are so miserable, quarreling with each other, and there are animals with claws, with teeth, with speed, with strength, and see, human beings, they don't have all those things. And then Zeus was deliberating, what do I do? You've got to put a kind of a corrective, you can say, mechanism there. And he put within human beings a moral sense. And that made us combine. And that made us strong to subdue even animals, huge animals with claws and speed and strength and all these things. So here we are. It's a nice story. Yeah, of course.
Einstein said our technological prowess, the problem was that has exceeded our moral.
Yes. Yeah. And no,
What did he say?
our
Einstein
moral
said
boundaries,
that
probably.
the problem is that our technological powers have exceeded the state of our moral progress.
Yeah, we cannot foresee what exactly. We started with GM. We never foresaw what actually would be the problem with genetically modified seeds or something like that, or maybe insects, or maybe some viruses or something like that. We don't foresee. Yes, this is where I would say that Einstein, of course, he believed in a Spinozian God,
Mm-hmm.
not a kind of a personal God. But here, Vedanta is already giving you the highest morality. That same self is there in all beings. Yes. Don't do any injury or anything. So that's the highest morality. So here it is. It's not that the morality systems are not in place. The system of metaphysics itself gave rise to the highest morality in Vedanta. And that's the reason why you cannot have a Vedantin and say, I am a Vedantin and he can do or she can do anything or whatever. That person has to be perfectly moral and perfectly divine. If you think of yourself as divine, there you solve your problems. Yeah. So he is the great seer. He sees everything. And in the previous mantras, we have seen that Sarvatas Chakshu. His hands and feet and legs and heads and eyes are everywhere. So your eyes, my eyes, and everyone's eyes and heads are not ours. They are God's. It's like you have innumerable cells in your body, which is a kind of a collection. You are a collection of all. So if one cell in your body says, I am different, so the rest of us say, oh yeah, keep on shouting. It doesn't make a difference.
That's like a cancer cell.
Oh yeah, yeah. Keep on shouting. Only the cancer cell has become hyper. He wants to.
Yeah.
That cancer cell wants to replicate itself more and more faster. These guys are too slow. I want to. I want to beat the. I beat the world record. So we are parts of that whole. So that's what. And until unless we identify ourselves with the whole, we'll always feel a kind of a loneliness, a kind of a vacuum, and feel, oh, nobody loves me. What rubbish are you talking about? Everything is only love. And how can you say that no one loves me or loves anyone else? That's the only thing that is really tangible in this visible world is love. And because it's a divine quality, it has to be there. It's not just immortality is a divine quality, it also means.
I feel always nobody loves me.
Yeah. The best way to make yourself happy is to make others happy. Yeah, the best way to love yourself is love others. You are. That's it has been tested for thousands of years and found to be perfectly alive. Don't go to make yourself happy. Make others happy. There. So he projected Hiranyagarbha in the beginning. Hiranyagarbha is the golden womb from where all the creatures and everything have come out. It also means, as the commentator says, uh, that knowledge which is beneficial, captivating, and very effulgent. Page 127, the first line. So, he who has a beneficial, captivating, and very effulgent knowledge as his internal essence. So, it's like that, golden. So, like kind of a imperishable, incorruptible knowledge, absolute knowledge. So this is the being that's identified with creation. That is, the creation has come out from there. Yeah, and say, may he, that is Rudra, endow us with good understanding. Good understanding. What's good understanding? It's a kind of a prayer to have this. Everywhere you have in Indian philosophy, in the scriptures, uh, they really pray to a deity. And if they pray, oh, please make us more intelligent. In the sense of not intelligence, in the sense, Sri Ramakrishna gives an example of the crow thinks it's very intelligent, but it eats all filth. Okay? That is intelligence, which directs itself towards God. Yes, or to the reality. And we are, in a way, biologically or physiologically or neurologically oriented towards experiencing reality. Yes, we are beings who seek reality. I don't believe in God. I'm an atheist. There can be no atheist. he believing, but that is the belief in Indian philosophy. We don't have any belief. I believe in God, Father of Almighty, Creator of heaven and earth. No, we have knowledge, and we have something called karma. Belief is when I do not know a particular area, or something which is beyond my senses or beyond my intellect or beyond this world. I believe there are some aliens. Really? Your belief is all wrong. It's another word for non-knowledge. So in Indian philosophy, there is belief. No, 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 no. What is this belief? Belief. Say you don't know. So we have knowledge, and we are oriented towards knowledge, and we are always trying to push those barriers of knowledge. Every time we work, every every effort we do, every thought we think is pushing the barriers of our knowledge further and further, pushing back. That's what the Bhagavad Gita says, Sarva karma akhilam partha jnane parisamapyate. All work ends in knowledge. So this is what we are, and you can see it. Just the way we are increasing in knowledge is unbelievable. And we're pushing back the darkness. And we do that through the intellect. That intellect is, like I said, is oriented towards the reality. And you're pushing back the, you can say, darkness regarding the reality. So this is a kind of, it's an effort. So that's why they say, may God, may He endow us with good understanding. This is a scheme of life. Swami Vivekananda, in his opening sentences in the Karma Yoga, speaks about pleasure is not the goal of man, but knowledge. Pleasure comes to an end. So, yeah. So, what is the goal of you for of a human life or of a human species? It's knowledge. And knowledge of what? Knowledge of consciousness. There we are. So this is where we find, now I'll read the verse once again. Rudra, who is the origin and source of the divine powers of the gods, who is the protector of the universe and the great seer, projected Hiranyagarbha in the beginning. May he endow us with good understanding. So it's like we are now stationed within God. There's nothing outside of God. And what is our understanding trying to do? Trying to understand the whole. Okay.
The whole? Is that what
The
you
entire, you can say that. Yeah. Because what happens is you are sitting here, you might not realize that you are sitting here, but you are within time and space. Your body has to have those coordinates of time and space. You have located yourself here. This is what you are. So you can recognize yourself. Where are you? I'm in heaven. No, you're here in this time and this place. So how do we recognize ourselves there? We take the help of this time and space, and then we transcend this time and space. And then we find ourselves, oh, I thought I was located here in this time and space. Actually, I'm located in consciousness. universal consciousness. That is the understanding that this person, this Rishi, is praying for. It's not, I want to have of $1 million mansion and what God. Nothing is impossible for God. There was one guy in Dakshineshwar when Sri Krishna was there. He used to do a lot of repetition of the mantra. And he used to say, he had taken a few loans, of course. I think God has got so many things. Won't he give me a little money also? So his objective was material. If the objective is spiritual, then there you are. The moment your objectives are all, you can say, limited, temporary, and so they contract your consciousness, contract you, and bind you to this time and space here. The moment you say, I don't want anything but only God, there you are, rising above all this.
It is when the objective is something material. Is that what Swami Vivekananda would call the shopkeeper's religion?
Oh, yes, yeah.
What's the shopkeeper's what?
The
Shopkeeper's religion. I go to a temple or a church or a mosque or a synagogue, anywhere. Oh God, I've got a stomachache. You better do something about it. I've got to pass an examination. You better do something. I want a job. Better do something about it. I mean, if there are these thousands of worshippers coming and putting all their petitions there, oh, God is all powerful. He can do anything. Yeah, I think there was one very famous boxer here in the US. They say, what do you do? I pray before the fight. What do you pray for? To win. I say, no. I'm praying, oh God, may I win this fight. And that other guy also saying, may I God, what's God going to do? Have a tie. So he's saying, I pray, let it be a kind of a good, clean fight. The idea of prayer was not divorced from the idea of karma in India. What do you want? You want this? You work for it. There's no free lunch. Oh, maybe I can get a miracle. There are books that say so miraculous powers. Then again, you want a religion that God should suspend those natural laws, or those natural laws which are operating should be suspended in only in your favor. These are the English, you can say, philosophers who give it. The miracle is what? All the natural laws are suspended and something happens only in your favor. So that you can't have a God like that.
This morning, I was supposed to be going to an interview,
Mm.
and I don't have a job right now. And I asked him, I really need a job,
Mm.
or you cannot give me a job. And maybe 10 minutes later, when I was about to leave for it, I got an email, the interview's canceled.
Ha.
And he'd already given me the interview, and I had asked for more without even taking what it was given.
There you are. So, that's like I said, you work towards it. Prepare yourself, and there's it. Because this world wants competent people. Simple as that. And you will get it. It's only thing we don't. We want some shortcuts. We shouldn't look for shortcuts.
We have blocks,
Mm.
knots to be untied and whatnot. And then it becomes easy because the resistance is gone. It says, no, you can't do it. It says, hey, go do it. Right?
Yeah. At least thinking of God.
Well, it takes a lifetime to remove the blocks. That's
Okay. So it's praying that we may reach the goal of understanding. It's not something we go from point A to point B. It's not external. That goal is the intellect becomes enlightened.
We keep getting told, don't keep asking God for all these nicey things. Go ask Mother.
Oh, it's nice.
And then,
God listens to prayers, sincere prayers. Sri Ramakrishna says.
and so, with respect to that knowledge, that converges with absolute love.
Exactly.
Right?
Yes. Knowledge and love and work, everything converges. Like
We have a vision of love in America that's spelled Love, and in India it's called bhakti. There is a difference somehow. This is Russia, this is
Ours is
like
wanting.
when it's the same love, when it is directed towards God, it's called bhakti. When it is directed towards people, it's called love. Now, when I say I love you, it does not mean I love you as with the appendage of a body. And I love that soul, that inner being within, which is the Atman, because that is actually the source of love. Now, if I can love you as the Atman, my love becomes permanent. It does not get corrupted. There is something within you that you realize is distinct from my body and mind. And everyone else has that kind of thing or essence within them. So when I love that being, and what's the nature of that? That itself is the God of love, as we say. So when I'm loving people, actually I'm loving God, not people. So my love becomes solid, kind of permanent. And when I direct it to the people, to the bodies or the minds or the qualities or characteristics, I get bound. So love is a tremendously powerful factor in our life. It can free us if we can really love. There was one uh, woman who comes to Sri Ramakrishna, say, cannot meditate properly. Whenever I trying to meditate, the the, the images of my nephew come in. And so Sri Ramakrishna will say, what's your favorite deity? Saying that Krishna as a child, Gopala. Why don't you see that Krishna there, that Gopala, within that nephew of yours? Okay, it becomes easy. So if we can love people by remembering that that same deity is there present in all. So this love becomes bhakti, it becomes source of freedom, not bondage. And as you keep on loving, you see, the whole universe also will understand. Oh, even the birds will understand. Even animals will understand. Yeah, this guy, he's not going to harm me. Even if you're carrying a big stick around in your hand, they will see your heart. Oh, there's love in the heart. Bill may have a kind of a stick in his hand, but he's not going to hit us with that. They recognize that. And if uh, such beings recognize that, do you think humans cannot recognize? Of course.
I have bugs that look at me and they say, there's a nice guy. And so they come out and walk around and I smash them.
Oh, no.
Wow.
So that impersonality of God, Vedanta would say, of course, that Saguna Brahman is the personality, the collective personality. Like this whole universe is the personality which is called God. That's like I have a personality, you have a personality, he's a personality, he's a personality. The collective personalities put together is the personality of God, Sagun Brahman.
But isn't it? I thought the emphasis was more on being the repository of blessed qualities.
Yeah,
So does it.
yeah. That is bringing in, as you say, the idea of bhakti, especially in this uh, dualistic religion. Here, says he is the repository of all the blessed qualities. Problem comes, is there only blessedness in this universe? How do you explain that?
Right,
So you've got half a god.
right.
You need to include the terrible also. And that's why Kali is portrayed as a kind of a part terrible, part benign goddess. She has been able to combine both the good and the bad within her. It's a kind of unitary. And that's why we also, it's a kind of a lesson for us too. We also need to combine that shadow self of us. Given half a chance, we will do enough damage to this world. Given enough power. Oh, I'll take a gun and start shooting everybody. I'll take a bomb and blow. Oh, really? So I thought you were such a nice person. Yeah, you don't know me. Yeah. So that person has not integrated that shadows, those shadows, psychological shadows. So we've got to integrate that. So when you come down to that, then you say, okay, there's the good and evil is a kind of a shadowy part myself. As long as I've not taken both these and harmonized both of them, otherwise you always will be, you can say, caught up in the duality. Okay, God does something good and Satan comes and spoils the whole thing. So God says, don't worship that Satan. He's always trying to tempt you, lead you astray. You follow my precepts, and then you follow. And then suddenly you find that you have been following the Satan's precepts more than God's. I give you 10 commandments and you're not following them, following that Satan. And the Satan is very happy. Satan does not tempt you. It is our own mind that does not want to go there to God fully, comes here. Then what happens is you need to locate, once again, you need to locate God somewhere where you cannot have it here. Build a heaven for him. Satan cannot exist with God, so locate him in another place called hell. There you are. So you keeping on multiplying your heavens and keeping multiplying your hells. You have to put it there. Now, suppose you say both good and evil are relative and they are actually one in a way, from the highest standpoint. So you don't need to have these heavens and hells. And then you bring that God and pull him inside. There, you solve a lot of your problems.
But as you
Yeah.
get free of the illusion, then aren't you getting closer to the state of God that
Yeah,
is
yeah.
blessed qualities? You know,
Yeah,
the Brahman, which is bliss.
this is it's a starting point of thinking God is good and God is blessed, has got blessed qualities. But you're just talking about a kind of a personal God once again. I'm talking about all our combined personalities go to form the personality of God. So take both.
When you get to the ultimate knowledge,
Yeah.
then you're just full of love.
Yeah, that's because the nature of that reality is love.
Yeah. But that is a quality.
It is, they say it's very essence, not a quality. Asti bhati priya. Priya is that love. Bhati is that shines. Asti is that which exists. That which exists shines. Shines with knowledge, consciousness, and which is love. So it's the very nature of the reality is this. If you have qualities, then you got to have what's the substance then? In Indian philosophy, this has been dealt with very extensively in the philosophy. Guna and Dravya in Nyaya, Nyaya philosophy. There's something called guna, the qualities. And
Yeah.
what the qualities don't hang out in the air. They need to have substance. What is the substance? So it's a long, long, long discussion. So, but then we dismiss the whole thing out and saying, no, this is the very nature of reality is love and consciousness and existence. Why do you want? He's so kind. He's got a long beard, and he's waiting for us. And sounds nice. It kind of comforting. But people have been